Okay, we're going to deal with the subject of modes, and I'm just going to keep this short because it's actually very simple. There'll be a couple of, maybe another sequel to this video. But basically modes are one of the most understood concepts of guitar, or music actually, because it goes beyond just guitar, it reaches into all realms of music. Basically, let's just start off with a major scale, and we're going to use C major scale. And actually we'll use F because it's right down the bottom, and that's quite nice. So we're going to use F, and we're going to play a major scale. Now, if you don't know your scales, they're going to be on the screen. So the first scale is Ionian, and it's called Ionian. Don't worry about the Greek names. We're going to associate them with actual sound. So the major sound. Okay, so this is our major scale. Oh, little Chinese song there called tuning. All right, so we have that's our major scale, and we know what the major scale sounds like. Okay, it's kind of happy, upbeat, and used for lots of songs. Okay, the next scale that we're going to look at is based the same notes as F major, but starting from the second degree. I should mention also that this Ionian or first degree, this happy sound, goes with a major chord or a major 7. The next chord or the next scale, I should say, going from the second degree is Dorian, and that is basically a minor blues sound. And I'm playing a G minor 7, just to really locate that root note. And here's the scale shape for Dorian. Now, if that G was our root note, this Dorian would give us that minor blues sound. Okay, so same notes, same scale, but depending where you start, you get a completely different sound. So if I made this my root note, I would have this heavy sound, you know. If I make this the second degree of the major scale my tonic or my key center, then I'll get a minor blues sound. Those two are very, very popular. You'll hear them in lots of music. I'll discuss it at the end of this video. The third position is also a minor 7 chord, and this is Phrygian. And Phrygian is kind of like a Spanish minor. You don't hear this a lot in popular music, but let's play it. So it looks like this. Okay, so the third degree gives us a Spanish minor sound. The fourth degree, which here is B flat, and this is Lidian. Now, Lidian is found in a lot of film scores. It's got a major sound, but it's got an exotic sound to it. It's similar to the major scale, the shape of the major scale, but it has a sharp 4. That's the only difference. So when you want a Lidian sound, you really have to pinpoint that sharp 4. Let me just show you where the sharp 4 is. So here is my first string. Here's the sharp 4. Okay. Let me play this whole scale. And you might have heard this. I'm playing in B flat, so you might have heard this in Flying in a Blue Dream from Joe Satriani. It's got a really a really nice sound to it, and you can find this in Sting's When We Dance as well. So be sure to check out that track, and you'll hear probably by the just halfway through the verse where he sings that sharp 4, and you can really tell it. Okay, so Lidian is associated with an exotic major. Next, and that's also a major chord or a major 7 chord. Alright. Now the next scale degree, which is Mixodian, is a major blues sound, and it's the only chord in this harmonized chord series to do with a major that is a true 7th chord or a dominant 7th. We're playing C major 7, C7, and it looks like this. Okay, so for most pop songs, when you hear a 7th chord, you can play a Mixodian shape. Next scale that we're looking at is D, and we're going to be playing a Eolian shape, which is a natural minor. Oh, going back to Mixodian, I should say that there's only one, like the Lidian, there's only one note difference between this and the major scale, and that is the flattened 7. There's a root note of Mixodian, go down 2 frets and you get the 7th, flat 7. So that's the only difference between the major scale and the Mixodian major blues sound. Okay, sorry, going back up to D, we've got a minor 7 sound. It's the natural minor called Eolian, and Eolian is what you'll most likely hear in songs. So let's play the scale shape. A fret buzz because this guitar is like $200 worth. Here we go. Okay, so that's like a minor 7 shape, minor 7 sound. It's a natural blues sound. Now the final mode is Locrian, and that doesn't sound very common in popular music. You'll hear it in a lot of jazz, but sometimes in jazz it's associated with a Locrian sharp 2 scale, or natural 2, depending on who you're talking to. But the last sound is Locrian, and like I said, it's a very unusual sound. So the scale the chord that goes with Locrian actually happens to be a minor 7, flat 5, or a minor chord with a flat 5. Right there you can hear it's a little bit more unusual. So let's play the E Locrian. Nice fretley. Okay, it's a very easy scale to finger because it's all fits within 4 frets. Now, I should mention that, yes, I am going up on the E string as a root note, but you could do this all on the first position. For example, if I was playing Dorian, I might just start on the 2, work my way up through that shape. See, I'm pinpointing that second note, which happens to be Dorian. You can kind of hear that blues. Yeah. Okay, so just to recap, Ionian is a major sound. Dorian is a minor blues sound. Phrygian is a Spanish minor sound. Lidian is an exotic major sound. Mixodian is a major blues sound, and Eolian is a natural minor sound, while the final one, Locrian, is not very common in pop music. Now, just regarding the chords, Ionian is a major or a major 7. Dorian is a minor chord or a minor 7. Phrygian is a minor chord or a minor 7. I mean, it's the same kind of idea. The next chord is Lidian, which has a major chord, and the 7th note version is a major 7 chord. The Mixodian chord is also a major chord, but it's also a dominant chord, a 7th chord. The Eolian is a minor chord, or a minor 7 chord. Yeah. The Locrian, which we're going to play here on this root note here, is a minor chord with a flat 5, or a minor 7 chord with a flat 5. Sometimes called half diminished. So, how does that work out in music? Well, sometimes you might hear the term 1-4-5 progression. That basically means that the 1, because if you take Ionian, 1, Dorian is 2, Phrygian is 3, Lidian is 4, 5 is Mixodian, 6 is Eolian, 7 is Locrian, and back up to 8 or 1, which is Ionian again. So if you hear 1-4-5 progression, that might mean F, 2, 3, 4 B flat, which is the 4 chord, the Lidian, and then the Mixodian, which is the 5 chord, back up to the 1 chord. So that would be a 1-4-5 progression. And the tonic chord in this case happens to be the major sound. So it's a very majory sounding kind of progression. However, say if we wanted to play here's a typical progression, a 6-5-4-3 progression. Now in this situation, we're going to be playing a 6, which in this case happens to be a D minor chord. And we're going to go 6-5, which happens to be our C chord, which is our Mixodian chord. 4, which is our Lidian chord, or our and then the 3. Now, in this situation, there's a compositional trick that many people use on the 3. Instead of playing it as a normal minor chord, they'll play it as a 7th chord or a major chord. And you would have heard this progression a lot. Let me just play it from D. You'll hear that sound in Hit the Road Jack, Stray Cat Strut. There's a section in David Bowie's China Girl which goes da, 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 da. You know this tune? Da, 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 da. Or something like that. I don't know, just randomly blanking on. So there's that 6-5-4 progression is based off an Eolian shape because the tonic center is the Eolian chord. So you can see that you can hear what is the tonic chord just by listening to a tune. For example, if it's a major sound and it's a pop song, it's usually going to be either Ionian or Mixodian. Ionian being the major sound, stock major sound, but if it sounds a bit bluesy, it's more likely to be the major blues sound of Mixodian. So by deduction, if you listen to a tune on the radio and you think, oh, it's kind of happy and upbeat, it's it's bluesy. So is it bluesy? Yes, it's a Mixodian. If no, it's a major. However, if you're sitting in a movie and you hear a kind of major sound, but it sounds kind of like a little bit ethereal, then it's probably going to be Lidian. So just those are the 3 options: Mixodian, major blues; Lidian, which is exotic major; and major, which is just your normal stock major. Of the 3 minor modes, which is Dorian, Phrygian, Eolian, Phrygian is the least likely to be like a tonic center because it just doesn't, we don't hear it that often in pop music. Eolian, which is a natural minor sound, is likely to be used like in this David Bowie China Girl song, or Dorian. So if you hear a song that's a little bit sad or thoughtful, it's either going to be a minor, so is it bluesy and sad and thoughtful? well, it's going to be kind of like a Dorian. If it's not, it's more likely to be an Eolian. And I'm talking about pop music. I'm not really talking about jazz so much because they have more colourful tones in them. But this is helpful, say if you get invited to jam in a song with a band, then you can basically identify the kind of sound or scale shapes or note choices you can make by just by listening to the song and using a process of elimination, at least if you're in this beginning phase, to be able to deduce what kind of scale you should be playing. Now, once again, if you don't know these scale shapes, go to my video which is entitled How to Learn a Scale Really Quick, or something. I just recorded that just before this, so I haven't got a name for it, but you will recognize the lesson name when you see it. To learn these scale shapes. Now, like I said, we're just basing them on the E string at the moment. They can be based all over the neck, and like, for example, if I'm playing Eolian, which is this shape, we had usually I played it up here when I was demonstrating Eolian, but I can play it here. Now, actually, that happens to be using a Phrygian shape based on the E string, but the Eolian happens to be straight across from it on the D string on the 5th fret on the A string. So that would be my Eolian root. The next series probably attached to this is we'll be talking about pentatonics, changing each of these modes into a pentatonic to really isolate the sound of the scale. So hopefully that will help you to understand a little bit more about modes. It's really simple. You just use one scale, the major scale, and depending where you start, you get a radically different sound. So experiment with this, and no doubt you can find some more tutorials on YouTube, but this is basically how I discuss it with my students, and they seem to get it. Okay, so see you in the next video.